having come through Bombay, and changed flights on my way to Bangkok, this video is largely about the Indian connection and the closing of the PBCC meeting in India. But just before I embark on that, I found a very interesting piece of news from Frank Langrel of Woodlands, Canada, who on one occasion preached in the Universal Occasions in Bristol. Very knowledgeable, knows the history. So I asked him, I said, I'm convinced it will come out that JT Jr. failed morally at Aberdeen, but he was put up to a job that he was not able for by Bruce and John Hales in the 50s. I think we need to now try and trace back what happened from before JT Sr. died in 53 to see if we can find out how the Hales grew up, what ages they were. They lost their father when John Hales was 8, so he would have been open to influences of bad people and good people. He went to university and got a degree. What did you say he got a degree in? Frank says he told us in one of the interviews during the Nietzsche meetings at Woodlands that he took psychology. He said, I took psychology 1 and was convinced that anybody that took psychology 2 could not be in fellowship. He said, then I met my wife and she had taken psychology 2. So yes, they met at university. Isn't that interesting? Psychology and the cleverness of the deception of separation, which foxed the Brethren and really sent them down a rabbit hole in the 60s until Jim Taylor died in 1970. Of course, he called the Haleses out in 1965 and had them withdrawn from. Now to get back to India, Pramila Desai said we were put out in 1980 by JHS for a trivial matter, wanting to go to Australia for meetings. It was a merciful deliverance, like Joseph of old. Joseph said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Our eyes were opened and we relocated to Los Angeles to get away from it all. Sadly, my parents and siblings continued with the PBCC until 1991, when Dad, that's Vincent Damaraj, was put out. His own son was involved in his withdrawal, but it was now John Hales' time. The Lord called Dad home a few weeks later. That's often happened, doesn't it? John Patton was called home very soon after Jim Taylor told him to withdraw from the Haleses. But then the vindictive line came in and John must have felt terrible. It's just playing around with good men. Again, it was his mercy, because my youngest sister, Romulus's wife, also while in the gyms, got cancer and came out. I brought the whole family here to Los Angeles, but then he called her home. Then Romulus and 4 children moved to New Zealand and left the gyms after a few years. I still have 1 sister and my only brother in that system, sadly, and pray for their deliverance daily. And then I've also got the newspaper report here by Norrie Ross on September 17th, 2009, in connection with the Indian Brethren and the experiences they had when they moved from India, when the Brethren decided to close down the meeting in Bombay. Here it goes. The Exclusive Brethren is an evil, corrupt cult that tried to silence former members who escaped its clutches, a judge heard today. 3 young Indian sisters who say they are on the run from the controversial religious group told Justice Tony North that they feared for their lives because they were seeking to expose its criminal activities. Their spokeswoman, Lydia Desai, told the judge that Prime Minister Kevin Rudd had backed down on his attack on the Exclusive Brethren despite calling it an extremist cult that broke up families when he was the opposition leader. Ms Desai, who appeared without a lawyer, said the Brethren had committed a number of national and transnational crimes that had escaped scrutiny by authorities because of the organisation's vast wealth. She cited crimes of genocide, people smuggling, corruption and bribery that has taken place in Australia and India. Justice North remarked that they appeared to have a deserving case, but said that because of the complex legal issues raised, they needed to have proper legal representation. We don't have the money for it. They have destroyed us, Ms Desai told Justice North. Ms Desai, along with her sisters Rebecca Desai and Priscilla de Souza, former members of the sect, have taken unprecedented federal court action to try and force the Australian Federal Police to investigate the Exclusive Brethren, saying that the police have a duty to tackle crime when it is exposed. The Exclusive Brethren is a worldwide organisation with 43,000 members, 55,000 now I think. Australian Bruce Hales is its world leader and elect vessel. The conservative Christian sect has been extremely controversial in Australia because of allegations that it tried to influence politicians despite its members being exempt from voting. In August, the Senate blocked a wide-ranging inquiry into their activities. Greens leader Bob Brown wanted the Senate's Community Affairs Committee to investigate the sect, accusing it of preventing young members from doing tertiary education courses and forcing young women into arranged marriages. Lydia Desai told the courts that Mr Hales had openly boasted that he could use his organisation's wealth to buy off any attempts to bring it to account for its criminal activities. She told the judge that when she and her sisters had tried to persuade the Indian police and courts to investigate the Exclusive Brethren, they were unable to get any action going because officials had been bribed. The 3 sisters are living in Australia on bridging visas and are awaiting a decision on applications for permanent protection visas. Justice North said there was an important legal issue as to whether a court could order the federal police to investigate allegations of crime. He adjourned the case until January 13th next year and made an order that the sisters should have access to free advice from a barrister. Outside court, Lydia Desai said that the Exclusive Brethren had forced its members in India to move to New Zealand and that she and her sisters had then fled to Australia. She said that their aim was to expose the cult and its activities. The court can direct the federal police to investigate this organisation, she said. There are heaps of crimes they have committed. They have smuggled 500 people into this country. Ms Desai said that they had a mountain of evidence for the authorities, but she alleged that the Exclusive Brethren hierarchy had boasted that they were untouchable. Members of the church are so psychologically damaged that they are not able to come out and talk about it, she said. And that's precursor, I suppose, to the Australian Tax Office raid. 125 officers all at once on Brethren entities in March last year. So we have to keep going in our drive for justice. Good on the Desai sisters. Good on them for calling for justice. Closed down because they didn't have the money. And that's really the issue, that the Brethren are relying on money to prevent justice winning. And as my friend Jim Hutchinson said just before he died, the truth will win. So let's get on the side of the truth and expose all this falsehood. Thank you.